Constructivism is used when the learner is active and part of the constructive process. The learner is the person that's the information constructor. So the person is actively constructing and creating their own representations of reality. This is because no people see the same thing or hear the same thing. So you embed your new ideas in the old ideas. So basically the idea that new information is linked to prior knowledge. Thus, your mental representations are subjective to what you know versus what someone else knows. Cognitive load theory focuses on the load of working memory during instruction, and this was developed by a man named John Sweller, who describes the human cognitive architecture and the need to apply sound instructional design principles based on our knowledge of brain and memory. So he talks about two different types of our memories. There's a working memory and a long-term memory. The long-term memory is where a lot of our schemas are developed and stored, whereas the working memory, we are continually adding on to that. So Sweller describes 3 different types of cognitive loads. He talks about first the extraneous cognitive load, then the intrinsic cognitive load, then the germane cognitive load. So the intrinsic cognitive load talks about how there are inherent difficulties in learning and instruction that are not in the control of the instructor. And in contrast, the extraneous cognitive load talks about how there are controls the instructional designers can use to make the information presented easier to the learner. And then the last one, germane cognitive load, is the best one to use because this one focuses on the dedication to processing and construction of schemas throughout time. The cognitive theory of multimedia learning is based on 3 assumptions. Those 3 assumptions are that there are 2 separate channels, auditory and visual, for processing information, and that there's a limited channel capacity, which means once the working memory becomes full, then it reaches its capacity, and learning is an active process of filtering, selecting, organizing, and integrating information. So this was created by Mayer, and it states that people learn more deeply from words and pictures than from words alone. So in a classroom setting, it's important to have both words and pictures on the screen, not just words. However, simply adding words to pictures is not effective to achieve multimedia learning. The goal is to have instructional media in the light of how the human mind works, and this is the basis for Mayer's theory of multimedia learning, which proposes the 3 main assumptions when it comes to learning in multimedia, which are that there are 2 separate channels, auditory and visual, sometimes referred to as dual coding theory, and that each channel has a limited or finite space, and that learning is an active process of filtering, selecting, organizing, and integrating information based upon prior knowledge. And this whole thing, an idea, stems from the process of processing information, and that humans can only process a finite amount of information in a channel at a time,